This particular grief that I have is a real reminder of why I'm such an advocate for mental health. And I'm an advocate for mental health because, yeah, I had to be an advocate for it from very young. Having a sibling who was very normal and then they became unwell, not a physical unwell, but emotionally, mentally unwell. And I suppose back then, there was a lot of taboo around acute mental health, severe mental health. So I'm not talking about depression, anxiety, um, low mood, but actually like behaviors which are like intrusive voices, not even thoughts, but intrusive voices, spirituality, and talks about that when somebody's going through a psychosis, how they present themselves, maybe how they stare into the wilderness and you're like, where have they gone? Um, Talking to things or people, other entities that we cannot see or hear. And back then it was really almost like, oh, if I get too close to this, will I catch it? So a lot of the time, people with those types of mental health diagnoses, like paranoid schizophrenia or I don't know, schizophrenia affective disorder, they would literally be locked away and will not be visited by relatives frequently, sometimes at all. So over my many, many years of visiting my sister as she was under the NHS care and she was under the Mental Health Act, I would notice that there weren't many visitors. So when I was visiting, it was always a big event for the staff, and even for the patients. Sometimes I would see them and have a little word here and there where I could. I saw their longing eyes, like, oh, I want to see my sister, or I want someone to come and visit me. And this makes me think about, I don't know, just the gratitude that sometimes we forget that we have this intact. And we're going to go through roller coasters. Life's going to throw some wild cards at us, right? It's going to happen. And we're going to have to navigate that in so many different ways. And guess what? We're humans. So we're going to hit low. And hitting low, that's the best time to be around community. Because low moods can lead to suicide ideation, not wanting to be here. What's the point? Self-harm, destructive behaviors, that kind of thing. And if we don't have a community around, or we don't have a reason or a purpose to be here, then that's when that type of energy can really spiral very, very quickly. And a lot of people, patients that are in those wards, they've been there. They've made attempts. Some of them continue to make attempts. So my grief is complex because I feel like the person um, who has now left this realm of on Earth, I feel like she left maybe 25 years ago or so. Um, Spiritually, I feel like she it's almost like a horror story when you see someone who presents really normal, looks really normal, does normal things, has normal friends, gets on your nerves as normal as possible, as siblings do, and then almost overnight they start to behave very strange and they go into themselves and they no longer want to be uh, I don't know, the life of the party. They don't want to be out and about. They're very skeptical of safety and other people and energy, and it just spirals. And being a young person, being like I would have been about 17 or younger, actually, I would have been about 15, and kind of seeing this was it's almost like watching a zombie movie, right? So you're seeing somebody like just 1 minute you're talking, you're laughing, cackling, and then they say something just so bizarre, and you're like, oh, and they keep saying these bizarre things. And I'm using the word bizarre because that's how I would describe it as a 15-year-old. It was bizarre, it was strange. And there was nowhere to go then to talk about mental health. It was just something that I was very ashamed of. Um, but I didn't give up on her because that was the unconditional love. So, not going too much into the what I had witnessed, but I had witnessed a lot of what can I say? Police intervention, paramedics intervention, social services intervention, all those interventions of services. And I also witnessed lack of care, um, powerlessness where I couldn't do anything about it. Um, but I have this very, very important tool, which is my voice, my mouth. And that has always been something that I've been gifted with unknowingly. that is my main gift, is my voice, and being able to speak up for injustice and speak up when things are not right. And I suppose you can get penalized for that. When you speak up and you speak truth, then a lot of the time you're kind of rocking the boat. Um, but if that means that creates change and that sheds light on situations that need to change and attitudes that need to develop and change, then I guess I'll continue to do that. But for myself, working through um, this period of grief, I think in my cycle of grief at the moment, I'm very methodical because there's a process behind the scenes that has to happen to give my sister her justice, but also to highlight where there's been any negligence and where there has been um, just any abuse of care. Um, I have to fight that fight to make sure that people in those institutions, could be me and you, and once you lose your rights and you're under the Mental Health Act and you're in that place of care, the frightening thing is we don't know what's happening. Like nobody knows what's happening other than the staff and the people managing the care plan. So as a family member, you don't truly know what's happening, and you're hoping and praying that there's nothing untoward that's happened to your loved one. Um, I think my grief will probably kick in after the funeral. The acknowledgement that she's no longer here, and I won't be getting those phone calls from her and the institutions that bubbled her up. So there will be a sense of calm, and I think that calm I'm not used to. So yeah, that will be the time, I think. In the background, I'm also still working on behalf of my sister. So it's like I'm in full work mode, and I will go into grief mode when time allows it. There are waves of sadness and grief and yeah, just heartbreak. They are waves. They are very short waves, and then I kind of come back to me. And the reason why I'm doing this very openly is because I know plenty of people that have gone through grief this year. This is like a season of grief, and it's a very silent, intimate aspect. So if people are going through it now and you're watching and listening, and it feels a bit complex and a bit strange and a bit surreal, and you don't know what day of the week it is, and we're all going to cope and navigate it very differently, and it is a strange time. It is. And for those that are bystanders of those that are grieving, don't take it personally that the people that are grieving they may go off grid, they may disconnect, they may not be acting themselves. Just be there on standby. Just be there on standby. I'm sure they'll be back, but they've had a huge blow to their system, and it's kind of like, whoa, what do I do now? Like, what do I do now? It's a real shocker. Um, so can you navigate grief at work? Of course you can. I think some people choose to go straight into work because they don't want to stop working, just in case, yeah, dark feelings kind of kick in. So keeping busy either with physical work or with children, those that have children, or with family or charity, or some people throw themselves into doing stuff, baking cakes. I know somebody who just kept baking, kept baking. All right, do your thing in it. But there's going to be a time when you don't want to bake anymore. You just want to stop. So that's all of that is okay. And even accessing therapy and that kind of thing, sometimes when the grief is fresh, it's not the time to seek therapy. For some people they just have to they have to sit with it. And for some, they it's normally recommended like 2 to 3 months after um to kind of access therapeutic services. But for some people, they need to go straight into therapy straight away to be held through the process. Everyone's different, and that's okay. But whatever you do, you don't need to be alone. Even if you find one person, you don't need to do it alone. You can reach out, and you might reach out and you don't want to talk about the grief. You just need somebody there. Um, and lastly, the depending on how the grief happened, because death comes in different ways. Some are very immediate and quick and come out of nowhere. Some people are sick for quite some time. They can come in all different presentations, right? But I think it's important to note that once it is happening, that those that are grieving, especially those closest, are on high alert for death and sickness. So they might become really protective over certain family members or friends out of the fear that, who's next, because death is in the air. And that's perfectly normal to feel that. Yeah. but I am as well as can be. I have reduced my clinic somewhat just to allow that time to, yeah, just to be with my feelings and try not to block it as much as possible. A week um, after the death, I didn't have it in me to do any physical workout at all. I couldn't lift, do a pull up or anything like that. I just almost like I just collapsed in my body. I just collapsed and I had to sit with that. And the irony is, I happened to be on annual leave. So I didn't even plan to be on annual leave at that time. But yeah, my sister being my sister, she's always protected me regardless. So maybe she planned to go when, when Judy's having some downtime. Who knows? Who knows? Um, Also, pay attention to nature. When people pass away, be still enough to really be blessed by what nature will present to you to let you know that the person is okay, they are well, they are resting, So pay attention to the birds. I don't know, to the breeze, the sound of the trees, tingles in your body, dreams. These are all reassuring aspects of nature that can just let us know that don't worry, don't worry, don't worry, all will be well. So hopefully this has helped somebody today. And thank you for the messages. Thank you for the love and the concern. I'm really overwhelmed by that. And I think for me, it's a testament that it's good to talk. I mean, therapists are usually very, very private. I'm extremely private. But I think the last 12 months or so has taught me that actually being quite open and honest about life events has been so therapeutic for me and so healing. And it's broken such a pattern of silence and shame that I've navigated for most of my life. And actually, um, being open to some extent, being open um, has not only been helpful for me, but it's been helpful for others. And I've engaged in some delicious conversations due to me being a lot more open than I have been. So, yeah, look after yourselves, be well. And until I do another video, have a lovely weekend.